Hoops on Lane Fan Podcast, Episode 14, Stanford Postgame.
Hoops on Lane Fan Podcast is sponsored by About Face Cosmetic Therapy Center, because basketball season is also laser hair removal season.
You're listening to Hoops on Lane, a fan-produced pregame and postgame podcast about the Ohio State University men's basketball team. Visit hoopsonlane.com or subscribe where you listen to podcasts for all the latest episodes and information. Now here's your host, Dave Horning.
Greetings, Hoops fans. This is Dave Horning for Hoops on Lane Fan Podcast with a post-game review of Ohio State's 79-71 victory over the Stanford Cardinal in the PK80 Tournament being played in Portland, Oregon. This is Ohio State's best win of the year so far. The Stanford Cardinal were ranked 64th in the SI.com preseason rankings of all 351 Division I men's basketball teams, while Ohio State was ranked 77th. You might even consider this an upset. In fact, things did not go so well for the Buckeyes in the first half. The game started out slow, and after 5 minutes, Ohio State held a 6-2 lead as both teams were shooting poorly. Caleb Wesson started at center for the Buckeyes for the second game in a row, as Micah Potter's ankle injury continues to bother him. Potter played only 6 minutes in the game and scored just 2 points. So when Caleb Wesson picked up his second foul early, PK80 was forced to play center, and it affected his scoring ability early. ESPN color analyst Dan Dakich was critical of Keita, saying he was pulling the string on his jump shots, and they did look bad and were falling short. Stanford was playing an effective zone defense against the Buckeyes, and Dakich was critical of Ohio State's guards not positioning themselves in the gaps of the Stanford zone, but rather matching up against the zone by standing by their defenders. Dakich said Ohio State was dribbling too much against the zone and not making enough skip passes. He was right to a point, as Stanford did take a lead in the middle of the first half, and extended it when their forward Oscar da Silva made 2 nice three-point shots. Late in the first half, it was Stanford 31, Ohio State 21. But when PK80 was left wide open and made his second three, it took the lid off the basket for him, and he made 2 more threes in the last 3 minutes of the first half, including one with just 5 seconds left to bring Ohio State back into a tie with Stanford at halftime, Ohio State 32, Stanford 32. The late heroics by PK80 had Dakich praising him as the man for Ohio State. According to Dakich, when Kate is on fire, the Buckeyes have a chance, and when he's not, the Buckeyes have no chance. We'll be watching how that theory plays out for the rest of the season. Coming up next, I'll describe the play in the second half.
Greetings, Hoops fans. I'm Cassie Lawings, and I'm licensed by the State Medical Board of Ohio and personally trained by Vicki Mickey to perform laser hair removal and other cosmetic procedures at About Face. What do basketball fans have in common with laser hair removal, you might ask? First of all, laser hair removal fits into your schedule better in the winter time. Patients must stay out of the sun before and after each treatment, which is easier to do in the winter. Instead of enjoying just No Shave November, you can enjoy No Shave Ever with laser hair removal. Basketball season is laser hair removal season. Call me at 614-457-0448 and ask about our special $50 discount for Hoops on Lane podcast fans. That's About Face at 1918 Bethel Road, 614-457-0448.
At the start of the second half, the Buckeyes kept their momentum and started to build their lead. C.J. Jackson buried a three from the top of the key, and Jayshawn Tate made another of his driving left-handed shots that banks high off the glass. I like that shot for Jayshawn, as it allows him to elevate. I like it much better than his whirling dervish impersonations, where the final result is an out-of-control shot that is forced up underneath the basket and is all too often blocked. Ohio State continued to build its lead to 10 points at 48-38 with 14 minutes left when Andrew Dakich fed PK80, who finished with a nice move underneath to score on a layup. Ohio State had outscored Stanford 27-7 over the last 3 minutes of the first half and the first 6 minutes of the second half. ESPN color analyst Dan Dakich attributed this run by the Buckeyes to Coach Holtman's decision to play the 2 point guards, C.J. Jackson and Andrew Dakich, at the same time. There was better ball movement, and PK80 was getting better looks. Commentator Dakich was alternatingly critical and complimentary of his son Andrew's play, who finished with 6 points. But C.J. Jackson deserved the recognition even more, as he was the high scorer of the night for the Buckeyes with 23 points, including making 4 of 6 on 3-point shots. Late in the second half, with about 5 minutes left, when it looked like Stanford was making a run, it was C.J. who buried a three to keep the Buckeyes' momentum alive. Stanford went big the last half of the second half, but they were constantly fouling Ohio State. Ohio State was solid the last 4 minutes of the game in making its free throws. Caleb Wesson was 2 of 4, Jayshawn Tate was 2 for 2, C.J. Jackson was 5 of 6, Andrew Dockich was 4 for 4, and Keita Bates-Diop was 2 for 4, for a total of 15 of 18 free throws for 83% percentage. Good free throw shooting is good news for Buckeye fans. Final score, Ohio State 79, Stanford 71. This is Dave Horning for Hoops on Lane Fan Podcast. Goodbye and go Bucks!